to the first annual Wake podcast. I'm here with special guest Michael Warneke. And do you want to do introduction of who you are, Michael? I feel like you would be the best to do your own rundown.
I'd suppose I'm the best, even though I might not be the best at it. I'm a design student at the U. I snowboard like 6 days a week in the winter, so I get pretty busy with that just because it's all I want to do. And then in between there, it's either doing design stuff or design work now with like playing cards. And
do you find inspiration from snowboarding and like getting out? Do you try to bring stuff like that into your designs?
I try, and there's like a whole, like the art world of snowboarding, and like especially with street parts and all that stuff. Like it's edited really in a pretty standard way, but like for snowboarding. So like anybody else who's been like not introduced to that like style of editing and stuff, it'd be like pretty new. Really, what I'd like to do is with this like new card brand that I'm trying to get off the ground is use that kind of style of editing in our videos.
Two different art forms, really.
Yeah.
And then I think to give everyone a little bit of a background, do you prefer the term cardist?
Yeah.
Is that the proper?
That's what it is, and the art of shuffling playing cards. So it's not like Magic where it's like the goal is to like deceive the audience. It's interesting to look at and it's fun to create, and that's kind of the whole core of it.
Do you find kind of like fiddling with the cards, is that like meditative for you, or?
I don't know. So I have ADHD, and it's always been like I'm always doing something, and even right now I'm trying not to like move in my chair because it's super loud most of the time. But yeah, I just tend to just like do this. If it just helps to have something in my hands. I guess what I would call meditative is more like when I'm making moves or just like trying to figure out like, oh, this can like move here and this can go here.
I feel like there's a lot of like intricacies with that. How would you get into cardistry and like playing with that? Is that something you saw other people doing, or is that something you found on your own?
I found it just like on YouTube because it was either 5 or 6 years ago now. I just like wanted to figure out like a magic trick. I don't even remember what it was or if it was like a specific one, but then I saw a video of like, someone doing this stuff, and I was like, yo, and I wanted to figure it out, and I've been kind of just doing it ever since.
So you are working on a like a deck brand. Do you want to let people know what that is?
Yeah, it's Frontier, and we've been trying to get this off the ground for a long time, but then Corona hit, and then one of my friends lost their job, and then one of my friends was also like in the middle of like producing his own playing cards, but somewhere along the way they're gonna get done. And it's just it's a little hard to explain with its, I guess, the branding, just because it's very specific to like the cardistry world. But like this is all the design is.
We got a daylight here, Frontier pack.
Yeah, so these are daylight playing cards.
Sun on it. Yeah.
Pretty simple. I'm kind of proud of this like little.
I do like that logo. Yeah, it's pretty sick.
I forget the word for it, but it's like all the letters in it. I didn't want anything that's like too flashy because it's weird being like, from a design background and just like art in general, and then in cardistry it's really different, like what people like want as the back of a playing, because it's not, it's started to focus around like what makes sense in motion, and especially like what we do, it's packet based, so it'll be like clumps of cards kind of like moving around. You want to be able to like see it as a whole, but also be able to differentiate. This is this one, because that's like the whole point. The whole point is where they're moving. So kind of figuring out the perfect middle ground between like what's a really cool new design and what doesn't like what's too complicated or like wouldn't sell well because it's in cardistry and not just a design for any purpose.
I wonder if you have any views on kind of how the Minneapolis creative scene, cardistry scene is.
I don't really know, to be honest, because in terms of like, say, the cardistry scene, it doesn't exist. It's really just me. Like, there might be one other dude, but like, it's such a niche thing that it's like, it's me, and then the closest like homie I know is in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, which is 4 hours away. So doesn't exist. It's probably the best answer. It'd be cool to like get more people into it, but that's obviously difficult, especially because it takes so long to figure out. Like,
sure.
Even when I was first learning, like, this is like the first thing you learn, just like Charlie A cut, one hand, 2 packets, you push it up. But like even that takes like a month to like really figure out. So it's kind of hard to get people invested in that long of a time and something so like that could be perceived as just like so pointless.
And well, in that light, do you think now with kind of the push to more digital communication, do you think it's easier to find these kind of niche communities that, you know, historically, if you weren't physically there, you more or less wouldn't know that community exists?
No, 100%. Because, I mean, that's exactly why I figured out the cardistry existed in the first place. It's just some YouTube video. And then our community is, like, it's relatively very small in comparison to other hobbies, but it's still not small in, like, if you just took a random number of, like, this is how many people do it. Because especially it's really alive on Instagram. That's kind of, like, the core of like how we communicate with each other.
Where can the people find you or find more about cardistry?
For design stuff, it's War Design at Instagram, but it's like that's just my last name, so WAR, and then design with no vowels. I don't know why I took that username, but that's just what it is. And then cardistry content or anything like frontier related, you'll probably hear about it through Instagram at Mike Warneke, and then Warneke with no vowels, so WRNKE.
All right, well, it was real nice talking to you, Mike, and everybody go check him out and check out more weight content. Thank you.